Hello everyone, Gainer here from HDB Upgrading Strategist and welcome back to my Facebook Live episode 39, right? First of all, can I just check with you guys if you can hear me loud and clear? Right, I just changed a new mic today. So can you guys hear me? If can, probably can just, let me know from the comment section, right? Or probably can just tell me yes, you can hear. Then at least I know that, we are live now. Can, okay, good. I see Ivy, right? Probably you, yes, okay, good. Okay, so welcome everyone. The mic is good. Yes, the mic is good. Okay, so welcome everyone to my Facebook Live episode 39, right? So what am I going to share with you guys today, right? So my topic, I think this is something really very interesting, right? Because I think this is a highly debatable topic, right? And the topic is, can a couple really buy two properties with just $6,000 of income? And I believe that probably if you guys are very into social media, stuff like that, you probably will see a lot of advertisements, or probably hear your friends, sharing about all these things, whether, or about this, whether a couple can really buy a two properties with just $6,000. So I do understand sometimes, these type of things, probably when you hear, some of you guys probably will feel that maybe it's a bit scammy, right? And some of you guys probably believe in it, but probably you may not want to take an action into it. Or probably some of you guys probably don't bother, but you're just probably interested, right? And that's why I say that this is actually a highly debatable topic, because of course I do hear from quite a number of people also mentioning that probably this is really a scam, stuff like that. And I thought I want to take this opportunity to share with you guys about how I feel about it. And of course, I will probably look into share with you guys in a very neutral way, and as because this is live, right? So at least you guys will probably have a much better understanding as well. Okay? So with that, probably I'll just change my screen so that you guys can actually see it much clearer and bigger. Okay? Great. So probably just let me just shift our thing a bit. Okay, so at the end of the day, if you guys have any questions, feel free. You can just post it, or probably can ask me inside the comment section. And if I can at the end, or probably as and when I see something, see your questions, and probably I can answer you guys as well. Okay, so I want to pose this question to you guys, or probably later I post it. I will just cover all these three things, right? Today, what I'm going to cover is I will cover whether is it really possible, right? So is it really possible for a couple to buy two properties with just $6,000 of income, right? And I also go through with you guys about this financials, the calculation. And at the end of the day, this is really important. I just want to, share with you guys and let you guys understand from my point of view whether is this plan really right for you. That is important, right? That is really something I feel personally. It is not something that is for everyone, but to some, probably it is. So at the end, I'll probably go through some factors, and then you guys can understand where I'm coming from. Okay? Now, before I actually start, I just want to ask you guys a question, right? How do you, for you guys who are viewing this live video, right? If based on just $3,000 each, that means a husband, right? We have the husband and we have the wife, right? If let's say just based on $3,000 of income each, do you think it's really possible, right? I'm not asking whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it, but I'm just asking you guys in a form of whether calculation in terms of financials, right? Is it really possible to own two properties, right? If you guys believe that it is yes, probably you can just post inside, say yes. If you guys think that no, then probably can just put no, right? Can you guys do me a favor? Can you guys probably just let me know whether the answer is yes or you feel that it is no, right? I'm looking at the comment section. If you guys can give me the comments, yes or no, I would really greatly appreciate. Right? No. Okay. So I have a friend, NG, probably you put no. Any others? Okay, some say no. Okay, good. I'm having some comments. Don't think so. Yes, no, yes. So I think I have a mixture of answers, right? Some people say yes. Okay, good. Now I have a lot of people putting in the answers in yes, no, yes, no. So I think at the end of the day, it is a mixture, right? Not to worry. At the end of the day, I'll show to you, right? Okay. Now, I just want to share with you guys, but before we proceed, I just want to let you guys understand, some conditions before we actually look at it, right? So what are the conditions, right? Both are probably 35 years old. You can be much younger, but for this calculation that I'm going to do, at least you guys can understand where I'm coming from, right? Now, the condition is probably both of you, husband and wife, are actually 35 years old, right? And probably each and every one of you, the husband earned 3,000 and the wife earned $3,000 each. That's why if both add up will be probably $6,000, right? And you guys are the husband and wife, you are probably looking to buy each your first property as well, right? And of course, we have to take into consideration of the cash and CPF amount for the down payment, which I'm going through with you guys as well. Okay, so both, let's say, are 35 years old, right? The loan tenure for your first property you can get is 30 years, right? So how do I actually derive this number? So basically, you just have to get, if let's say it's your first property loan, you have to get age 65 minus 35, so your loan tenure is 30 years old, right? 30 years, sorry, right? And because each of you earn $3,000 each, and based on TDSR, right, which is the total debt servicing ratio, right? So it will be based on 60% of your gross salary. So if let's say you are earning 3,000, 60% of 3,000, it will be 1,008, right? And based on the interest rates of 3.5%. So this 3.5% interest rates, please don't misunderstand. It is just only a way to calculate how much loan you can get, but it is not the interest rates of this current situation right now, right? So total loan amount you are able to get is $400,000, right? So if you are 35 years old and you are earning $3,000, right, the loan amount you can get is roughly around $400,000. Okay. Now, so based on $400,000 of loan amount, right? So you must understand the loan amount is 75% of the purchase price, right? So you can get only probably $400,000 of loan, and the purchase property, the price eventually you can get is $530,000. So meaning to say, husband have to find a property which is worth $530,000. The wife must also find a property that is worth $530,000. So each one will own two properties, right? Each is $530,000, and their pay is $3,000 and $3,000. So you guys understand where I'm coming from, right? So you can only find a $530,000 worth of property, right? So probably I just want to go through with you guys a little bit about these property portals, because we are going to look and search for what are the properties that is worth $530,000, right? So very common, a lot of people, a lot of buyers today, you will look at some of the properties, and the portals will be from Property Guru, Carousel, 99.co, and H Property, right? I'm not too sure whether did I miss others, right? If you guys feel that I missed others, probably can also help me to put in the comment section, right? Because when I was doing the slides, so I just know all these very commonly used property portals that buyers will search today, right? So let's say we probably look at the more popular ones, which is of course Property Guru, right? So today what we want to find is we want to find a property that's worth $530,000. So how do we go about it, right? So first, of course, this is a lot of people will probably be very familiar with this, right? So of course, you under this search button, you look for residential and you look for condo, right? And here you probably will have to put in the max amount is $530,000, okay? So at the end of the day, what are the results, right? The results is 78 results. Well, we have probably 78, right, condos or apartments that is worth or under $530,000. So for this instance, we have Park Rosewood that is worth, that's asking, or probably, I don't know, guide price is around 519,000. We also have another one more is around $520,000. Okay, so if I do another search, right, if I search from the cheapest, which I actually can filter, we actually have this property called the Hillfort. The Hillfort is worth $475,000, right? Another one more is around $475,000, around the same, right? So meaning to say, if based on $530,000, right, you can actually buy a one bedroom based on today's property market, right? You can buy based on one bedroom, most likely, or probably that is only your choice. Okay, so based on a property purchase of $530,000, right, you need to pay a 5% cash of $260,500, right? You also need to pay a 20% cash or CPF. These are your down payment of $106,000, right? Of course, your 75% loan amount will be probably around $400,000. Just now I mentioned, so it will be around $397,000, right? And your monthly installment. So if you buy a $530,000 property, your monthly installment will be $1,478. Okay. Of course, if you're buying two properties, so now this is the calculation of one person, right? So if you're buying two properties, your total cash is times two, meaning to say 5%, which is initially is 26,500, you multiply by 2, you need to have a total cash outlay of $53,000 in terms of cash. And for CPF, you need to have $212,000, right? So you guys understand where I'm coming from? Right? So this is the amount that you need in order to buy two properties worth $530,000 each. So the husband will buy a one bedroom and the wife will buy another one bedroom, both $530,000. Your cash outlay, your down payment in terms will be $53,000 cash. Cash and or CPF, you need $212,000, right? So of course, frankly speaking, based on what I did in terms of calculation, right? Frankly speaking, yes, you can own two properties, but you probably can only own two one-bedder properties, right? And the question is, which is I think this is really very important for a lot of buyers today, or upgraders today, or whoever is looking this video, right? The question is, should you really do it, right? Should you really do it, right? That is the question, right? Of course, now I see some comments. One person says $530,000 condo is hard to find. I understand. So it depends on whether is it good or bad, right? Depends on how you look at it. Some people will find that, hey, you know, today I can find a one bedroom at $530,000 and below is a steal, right? But yet some people probably will think that the one bedroom is not suitable for them. So at the end of the day, no right, no wrong. It depends on your comfort level. But coming back to the question, it's very important. The question is, should you really do it to own two one-bedder at $530,000 each with your pay of only just $6,000, right? Both add up, $3,000, $6,000, right? So I just want to share with you guys about this calculation, right? So meaning to say, if you're earning $3,000, your monthly installment will be $1,478. Now, because you're working, one party is your spouse is working, right? Your CPF, you come back, you draw back, probably you have $690 coming back to your ordinary account, which you can use it to help to pay off this monthly installment as well. So total, you have to top up $788, meaning to say your monthly installment of $1,400 plus minus $690, which is your CPF, you need to top up $788. So basically, what you have balanced is $2,212 because I've used the $3,000 of your monthly pay minus this amount that you have to top up. You are left with $2,212. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is this, which is I think is very important, right? Is this really enough for your living expenses? right? Because at the end of the day, this is still an investment property. And a lot of people, whenever I look at all these things, they really have to work it out and make sure that the affordability is there, right? The numbers is right, whether they can afford it, stuff like that before they proceed. And of course, if the husband and wife is really exploring just investment, so now if we look into the investment objective, right, whether is it right? Okay, so actually just now I just took Park Rosewood, right, and the purchase price is probably I just based on $530,000, and I extract this data out, right. Of course, the one bedroom is around $1,600 in terms of monthly rental, right? Monthly rental, right? So of course, if you buy this one bedroom, you can rent out for just $1,600, right? At the end of the day, if this is your investment, so what do I mean by this is your investment? Meaning to say you buy a one bedder, and probably you're not even going there to stay, right? You as a family, probably you have plans that you just want to stay with your parents, right? For a very, very, very long time. And that one bedder you're buying is just purely investment, right? Then of course, both units, you can use it to rent it out, right? Like your monthly installment is 1,478, and then your rental is 1,005. You are able to cover it, so it can be covered, right? But however, we also have to look a lot of other things, because if today you want to buy a one bedroom, you have to understand whether what is the investment potential for the one bedroom that you're buying, right? Because you probably will need to rent for many, many years, and then you are able to see the returns if one day you sell. And of course, having said that, if you're going to rent for 10 years, 20 years, and you also have to understand that by the time if you're buying a 99 years leasehold property and you want to sell off your one bedroom, will there probably be still some returns coming back to you, right? All these things you have to understand, right? Of course, I've seen some of you guys giving me some comments. Thank you so much. Yes, I do understand. You also have to factor in the maintenance. You also have to factor in just now the pay of $3,000. Of course, some of you, if you're earning slightly higher, you have to factor in the 20%, right? Else that $3,000. If you factor in another 20%, because that is for CPF, then you probably will have only 2,000 plus, right? But for this instance, I'm just doing an estimate and as an example, then you guys can understand, right? Maintenance fee, of course, you also have to pay. Thank you so much. But I'm just doing some examples for you guys to go through, right? Maintenance probably you also have to factor in around $200 to $300, right? Of course, having said that, if you're buying HDB, there's also some maintenance that you have to pay. If you're driving, then of course you have to pay around $100 over plus the monthly maintenance. Then you just have to deduct this. The difference is probably also around $100 over, right? So all these you have to come and look into it as well, right? So at the end of the day, what I really want to come into is, of course, what are the factors to decide at the end? Are you able to still own two properties? Should you be really going into this plan, right? Now, objectives, right? You have to understand this thing. What are the objectives? Are you really looking to buy for your own stay, or you are looking to buy for an investment, right? I think this is important, right? Because with just $6,000, it does not necessarily mean that you have to buy investment, because this is just only a startup. And I do understand a lot of ordinary Singaporeans with $6,000. I think it's important that you probably, for the startup, a lot of people will want to look into just buying a HDB for your own stay, right? I think that's important. At the end of the day, what I always can say is that money is not everything. What I can say is that happiness is more important, because sometimes, I've seen a lot of people buy a HDB flat from a BTO and stay all the way to probably 10, 20, 30 years. And at the end of the day, even though they are earning quite a good sum of money, but they are not doing any property investment as well, right? So the thing is that, but at the end of the day, they are really quite happy about it. So what I want to share is that at the end, really, really understand your objectives before you really decide to go into this road, because this road is something that is not easy. It will be very risky, because later I'll share with you what is the rule, the thumb rule, whereby I personally should feel, right? So really sit down, understand what is more important. Is it for own stay or for investment? Especially this thing, if you are planning for your family and you're planning for your kids, then probably, having your own place for your own stay is really what a lot of people, a lot of Singaporeans are looking at as well, right? But of course, having said that, I do understand there are some people probably will be staying with their parents they already plan to stay with their parents for very long, right? So it really depends on whether you want to buy a one bedroom or you want to buy a two bedroom investment. It all depends. But if you are planning for family, right, for own stay, then of course I don't think that it is advisable for you to just buy a one bedroom and one bedroom for investment, because I think focusing on family would be more important for you, right? This is something I personally feel is paramount. Okay, and also of course just now I also didn't add, if you're buying for investment and that property is for your own for investment, you also have to plan for unexpected scenarios. For example, if your one bedroom is for investment and for rental, so you have to understand whether do you have a lot of reserve funds in case that one bedroom you probably have a few months later before you can find a rightful tenant to come in. Meaning to say, for that few months, you have to pay the installments by yourself. So just now I work it out, your monthly installment is around $1,400 or $1,500, right? And if you couldn't find a replacement tenant to come in, then that $1,500, you have to cover for yourself. And if you're earning just $3,000, it can be very difficult for you. So you have to also understand whether you have enough funds to tide you down for any rainy days, stuff like that, which is important. This is how I personally feel, right? And of course, coming back, I think this is very important. You need to have a 30-70 rule, right? For example, what do I mean by this? So if you're earning like probably $10,000, right? $10,000, then 70% is definitely, what you're getting, and the 30% is something that probably a $3,000 or slightly lesser, right? You can use it for your property investment or your property upgrading. Of course, I haven't factored in the CPF of husband and wife, and at the end of the day, the top up can be much lesser, right? But of course, if we use a 70-30 rule, I think this should be safe. But if you really look at it, just now what I did was that one bedroom investment, the money is you are earning $3,000, can be, if based on the CPF, it will be much lesser. And if you are paying a monthly installment to your property of $1,500 per month, then that is already 50%, right? So it doesn't follow this rule of 30-70. So if the higher, which is a 50-50, which is extremely dangerous, this is how I feel, right? So if let's say you over usage in terms of your monthly installments, right, then that can be a very risky move. This is how I feel personally. Okay. So at the end of the day, conclusion, should you own two properties with just $6,000? Based on my personal opinion, maybe if I can share with you my story, right? Both me and my wife last time when we just started out working, I think our pay is probably just slightly above $7,000, or probably $7,000 to $8,000. During that time, because of that pay, we don't even look into buying investment as well. We are just only solely looking to own a property just for own stay, as in a HDB, can be a BTO flat, can be a resale. So owning two properties with just 6,000 is never in our mind, right? So the question is, should you do that? Frankly speaking, if you look at my personal opinion, it can be very, very risky. Of course, I cannot say yes or no. It depends on you. Some people I spoke to, they are risk takers. Some people are not risk takers. And if you are just in between, you're not too sure, then I rather you don't take that risk, right? Just plan something that is for your own stay. I think that is extremely important. Don't really look at investment. Just plan something for your own stay if you're earning not as high, right? I think that is important, because at the end, you have to feel happy about what you buy. That is what I personally feel. So conclusion, I don't think it should be right. But of course, I have to say, it depends. Some people are risk takers, some people are not risk takers, right? So, but my personal belief, you just have to go for your own stay. Just buy a HDB or BTO flat. I think that's the best choice, right? This is how I feel. Okay? So at the end of the day, I probably have come to my Facebook Live, right? Whether, is it possible? in terms of numbers, yes, but whether should you go into that road, then it really depends on you, right? Because I personally feel that it's quite risky for you guys to do it, right? Especially for you guys who just start up a family, right? Then I think your main priority shouldn't be in investment, but in family building, right? I think that's important, right? Yes, I see Joe Cole. Joe, yeah, most importantly is live comfortably and don't overstretch. Yes, I totally agree with you because at the end of the day, I think being happy is important, right? Of course, everyone, when you go to a different stage of life, when you're 30 plus, and you guys are earning probably 8,000, both add up $16,000. I have clients who earn like, this type of income, and then you probably have gone to a different stage of life whereby now it's time for me to upgrade, and now it's time for me to buy a property, and I should be looking into an investment point of view. Yes, then probably we should explore, right? Else, if you're earning really not that high, 6,000, 7,000, or even 8,000, then I think you shouldn't really explore too much about investment. Just focus into just happy, right? Get a house to stay, and that is important, right? That is what I want to really share with you guys for today's life, right? Now, of course, probably I already come to the end of this live. If you guys have any questions, right, you can ask me. Else, probably you can just put inside the comments, and probably if I can, yes, just probably answer you guys, right? Yes, I see Elton. Live within your means. That's important, right? Thank you, Florence, right? Very good sharing. Thanks so much, right? At the end of the day, I really hope that you guys really understand where I'm coming from, right? Don't overstretch. At the end, I just want to say that, of course, you will be hearing a lot from, when you want to buy a property, there will be your friends out there, your relatives out there, to probably will share with you different points of view. Some will probably say that, hey, you should buy investment. Some probably will share with you that, hey, you should buy for your own stay, right? So you will probably be, looking into weighing all these options. What I really feel is more important is feel comfortable, have a discussion with spouse, with your families. And at the end of the day, I think buy for your own stay is something I feel is more comfortable. That is really, really important. This is what I personally feel because, oh yeah, I haven't add one very important thing. This is important. 2%, 3,000 each, right? What if one person is not working, jobless, suddenly? Then you only left $3,000, $3,000 if one person is working and you need to finance two properties. I think it will be extremely very stressful, especially for this. Then how about planning for kids? Sorry to say that, but you probably won't be looking when you're very stressed up, right? You probably won't be looking to planning for family, right? Kids, stuff like that. So there's no point, right? So hopefully, I think thank you so much for watching this live. Hope you guys feel that this is really meaningful because I think what I really want to share is this is based on what I feel. Because you have a lot of people have seen a lot of advertisements, stuff like that. Yes, I can only say one thing. It's not. I mean, it can be done, but whether you want to go into this road, right? Whether you want to go into this road, right? That is important, right? Elton died like that. Yes, of course. If one person not working, then really, I think that is really, really difficult already, right? So of course, thank you so much for you guys for watching my Facebook Live episode 39. And I hope that I really address this thing, right? Can a couple really buy two properties with just $6,000? And I hope you guys really understand from where I'm coming from, right? Yes and no at the end depends on you, whether what you want to do. The decision has to really, be firm with it, right? And don't regret with your decision. With that, thank you so much for you guys watching this live, and I really appreciate. Hopefully, you guys can give me more likes and comments. With that, thank you so much and good night. Bye bye.